Humans are now hackable animals. The whole idea that humans have, they have this soul or spirit and they have free will and nobody knows what's happening inside me. So whatever I choose, whether in the election or whether in the supermarket, this is my free will, that's over. And humans really don't know themselves very well. This is why algorithms have a real chance of getting to know ourselves better. We don't really know ourselves. The central idea of this new worldview, which you can call dataism because it invests authority in data, the central tenet is that given enough data, especially biometric data about a person, and given enough computing power, Google or Facebook can create an algorithm that knows you better than you know yourself. Now it is becoming possible. It's possible for the first time in history to follow everybody all the time, and it's possible, it is becoming possible to go under the skin. It's not just seeing where you go, who you meet, what you say. It's actually understanding what you feel and what you think, and understanding this better than you understand yourself. Yeah, forget about your heart, what does it know? Ask Google. Google knows you better, so it can recommend to you what to study, where to work, even whom to marry. People make sometimes such terrible mistakes in the most important decisions of their lives because they don't really know themselves very well. But these algorithms, these systems will know us better. They won't be perfect. They don't have to be perfect. They just have to be better than the average person in order to gain control. And that's the end of all these old institutions and ideologies of individualism and free market and democracy and so forth. Data is now the key to almost everything. It's the most important asset. In the past, like hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago, the most important asset was land. And you had these big conflicts. Who owns the land? And then you had the Industrial Revolution, and the importance of land declined. And instead, the most important question was who owns the machines? Who owns the factories? Who owns the means of production? So you had these big conflicts, and we are just now marking the 100th anniversary of the communist revolution in Russia, which was really who owns these means of production. In the 21st century, the most important asset will be data. I'm not implying it's necessarily a bad thing, because it will be a very good thing in many respects. The very meaning of human life is likely to change, because traditionally, human life is seen as a process of decision-making, of going through one junction after the other. If you think about great art, like you mentioned A Tale of Two Cities, or you think about the Shakespeare plays, they are almost always about decisions. You need to make a decision. Does Macbeth murder the king or not? Does Romeo go for Juliet or not? You all the time have to make a decision. And it's the same with religion. If you think about Christianity, the great drama is all about decision-making. You have to choose between good and evil. And if you choose good, you win paradise. If you choose evil, you go to hell. It's all about decision-making. Now, what happens? How does a human life look like when all the important decisions are taken by Google? Just try to imagine your favorite Hollywood comedy or your favorite Shakespeare play, when Hamlet doesn't know what should I do, he just says, Google, what should I do? You know me better. So it could be a much more convenient and easy life for Hamlet if he just allows Google to take the decision for him. Homo sapiens is the only animal that can talk about things that don't really exist. Churches are rooted in common religious myth about God and heaven. States are rooted in common national myths. Business corporations are rooted in common economic myth about money, stocks, and the corporations themselves. Judicial systems are also rooted in myth, in common legal myth about justice and human rights. Yet, in truth, there are no gods in the universe, no nations, no corporations, no money, and no human rights and no justice outside the common imagination of us, human beings. The fact is that there is no such thing in the world as gods or money or human rights except in the common imagination of human beings. And that's the end of all these old institutions and ideologies of individualism and free market and democracy and so forth. It will demand a lot of changes in many fields. The most obvious is the legal field. The idea that we punish people for making bad choices, that should be out.
Okay, oh wait, okay.
We still need a legal system.
So Bill Cosby couldn't control his choices.
But we don't punish him for bad choices. We should send him to jail for several other things. First of all, if you have the kind of brain that makes these decisions, then society should be protected against you. It's not a punishment for free choices, but you need to protect people. And secondly, deterrence. The brain, when it makes its calculations, takes into account what society does, if you do this or if you do that. So deterrence still works. And thirdly, and most importantly, therapy. If you have the kind of brain that makes these kinds of decisions that harm other people and that harm you, we should try and help you. We should try and cure you. Unless you invent the technology to control minds, there isn't a technological way to destroy the deep source of racism. I'm quite confident that we will gain a lot more power in the coming century, which will solve many of the problems that now bother us.